The ignition sequence has begun it. A total of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. To the skies. There will be a liftoff. I am the and I would want to introduce myself to everyone. Recently, my sponsor Link2 has been posting some extremely great tweets on this platform. Hold on to this one. Learn how to invest like the ultra-wealthy with this guide. The most astute investors in the world do not simply invest their money in the stock market and then shut their eyes. They are always on the lookout for the next great thing and make quick investments before the rest of the market. My hope is that these businesses will become success stories worth billions of dollars. You are now able to do it on Link2 as well. Invest in the leading pre-IPO firms that are altering our world by signing up, verifying your identity and investor status, adding funds, and investing in these companies. You can begin by going to link2.com. In addition, I just now received an email informing me that they have, in fact, reduced the minimum amount of money that must be invested. It's down to $2,500 for today, at least maybe for the weekend, I don't know, but at least for today, it's because you have, have a look at it, shall we? Alternatively, you can download the app at linqto.com. You should look into this from the Cointelegraph. The elimination of SIB 121, which makes it difficult for some institutions in the United States to conduct transactions in spot and other custody-related difficulties in the digital assets area. Therefore, I have a feeling that will be the case. With Harris, I believe that could be a possibility, but with Trump, it is very surely going to change. It seems quite probable that there will be a change at the top of the SEC. Although we did see a little bit of a bounce back of that late last weekend around the security type issue, the Securities and Exchange Commission (CC) under Gary Gensler has also been highly negative on the sector over the past few years, in addition to being quite bearish. In addition, it is likely that this will also be eliminated. In a relatively short amount of time, you will most likely see more exchange-traded funds. I would suggest that Solana is the third one that is most likely to be the case. Therefore, let's argue that the most significant change is the one that pertains to regulations. In addition, taking into consideration the broader developments that are taking place in other asset markets, I believe that it is prudent to purchase Bitcoin and other digital assets anyway. In particular, you have now finally begun to see the US Treasury curve, albeit very, very little. The yields on 10-year Treasury notes are now higher than rates on 2-year Treasury notes for the first time in a number of quarters, which is a narrative that is mildly favorable from a financial perspective. Furthermore, inflation expectations have increased little, while real rates have decreased slightly. This is a part of the whole picture. Again, this should be helping at the margin, and I believe that we will probably also get a more optimistic prognosis on the ETF inflows to Bitcoin the following month. These inflows have been quite weak throughout the summer months, totaling approximately $17 billion so far this year. In the fourth quarter, I believe that those inflows will begin to build up again, and as a result, each of those articles it is quite a bit higher up to 125 years by the end of next year, and I believe that it will reach 200,000 by the end of next year, if Trump is successful. This is exactly what the Federal Reserve anticipated. What do you think about that? And then Michael replied, I find this to be quite fascinating. In this context, he is essentially stating that Bitcoin has already contributed 0.1% of the total capital from all over the world, and he believes that it is going to increase to 7%. In terms of Bitcoin, in regard to their sentiments toward cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. In addition, let us assume that it is in the continuation of the administration that was led by Biden and Harris. When does Gensler take on a more significant role? The situation becomes much more challenging. With regard to my wage grade, that is all. What I would say is that, in my opinion, you would be the Secretary of the Treasury. Do you mean to say that you purchase Bitcoin and then keep it for more than 4 years, Joe? To everyone else, it is the advice I say. Please purchase it and keep it for a period of time greater than 4 years. Why? Oh, then conclude that it is digital gold, despite the fact that it takes a significant amount of time. In what proportion of the total market capitalization of gold does it finally know Bitcoins? It is currently 0.1% of the total capital in the globe, but I believe that it will soon rise to 7% of the total capital. My long-term projection is that this will increase to 13 million over the course of 21 years. 13 million, but what will it be in 5 years? You're just in your 4th year of calculus. You should know that it has been growing for approximately 44% of the years with a volume of 40 to 50. If I had to guess, I would say that it will move on it. 40% and then click down to 35, then 30, and finally 25. But at some point in time. All right, the picture is clear to us. At this very moment, the most notable piece of news from today is this very moment. One of the members of the General Counsel is Senator Cynthia Lummis, and this is a Cynthia Lummis. Moreover, it is possible that he has let the cat out of the bag here. Come on, coach, we are ready. The testimony that was given in the past gave the impression that objects have also been appearing in the House. A greater level of collaboration and assistance from both parties. It's true. Are there any other things to report there? Do you believe that this is still generally consistent with the way things are going moving forward? Lange, our counselor. For your assistance, Mr. Chairman. A coach the Hermanto Roths, generally speaking, I believe that there has been an outbreak of bipartisanship in both chambers of Congress. Getting 60 votes in the Senate is like climbing Mount Everest on a piece of legislation. You know, the House of Representatives passed FIT 21 with 71 Democrats, and, we really hit the magic number of 60 on the repeal of SCB 121 in May. In a similar vein, I believe that there is a significant amount of interest from both parties in both chambers. There is one thing that I failed to mention in my update to you that may have some influence on the SPDI, and that is the fact that Bank of New York Mellon is aiming to become more involved in the cryptocurrency custody sector. They had some issues with staff accounting both to 121, and the SEC has apparently granted them some type of variation from SAB 121 in order for them to move forward. Additionally, the Fed is a part and parcel of this situation, because the Fed is the regulatory body that oversees the bank holding company of Bank of New York Mellon. In order for Bank of New York Mellon to enter the digital asset custody sector, they would have been required to provide their non-objection in accordance with the existing legal standards and recommendations. So, oh my, certainly. Is there a follow-up provided by Coach? We've come up with a plan. It's true. Allow him to leave. This is a lot of Coach, in fact. It's true. Never in my wildest dreams would I have predicted it. In point of fact, here we are in a strange universe. It's true. In case you were wondering, this is going to be included in the All the World's a Stage collapse. In that vein, in any sense, are they going to go through the process of obtaining a BIT license from the state of New York, or are they kind of looking into alternative solutions or the like? They are able to get communication from Ellen. It's true. In light of this, it is highly possible that they will argue that the BIT license preempted. Nobody is surprised by this. You need to go back and look at my archives from many years ago. The relationships to BNY Mellon are the topic of discussion here. Just take a look at this metal-all guy. The move that would have been seen to be of the highest integrity would have been for the Secretary of State to withdraw SB 121 after the votes in Congress to repeal it. A move that would be considered low integrity would be for the Securities and Exchange Commission to offer exemptions to some large, well-connected banks. Can you guess which move Gary Gensler demonstrates? However, we have a long history of covering the BNY Mellon ties to on this channel. This is something that we have done. One of them is brought to light by Smoke here. From the perspective of BNY Mellon, Ripple and Stellar are considered to be unique blockchain infrastructure technologies. Do you think that this makes XRP and XLM unique? In contrast to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BitShares, which are open to the public, these are private. What kind of infrastructure and base protocols are there, and what kind of specific things are there? Now, I believe that this material was created quite some time ago, but Riz makes an appearance with another piece of paperwork that we have discussed in the past, a proof of concept for Ripple. I am presenting documents from BNY Mellon, software for connecting to Ripple. Quite some time ago, this was taken. During this time, they did not even bother to call it. Back then, they referred to it as xrp+ripple. It is probably around the year 2016. Moreover, there is the peculiar situation with Matthew Mellon. Ever since I began my channel, this is one of the stories that I have enjoyed the most. This is without a doubt one of the most fascinating tales. Unfortunately, it appears that Matthew Mellon, who was one of the heirs to the Mellon banking fortune, passed away as a result of an overdose on drugs. On the other hand, the tale goes that he was one of the bigger holders of XRP, and I always wondered how he was able to be so knowledgeable about Ripple. How did he come to be aware of XRP? Matthew Mellon, who was also a friend of Donald Trump, was in possession of a significant amount of XRP. This is something that should be mentioned. During that time period, there were articles written about him that were similar to this one. The disappearance of Matthew Mellon, Ripple Treasure, and Ripple Treasure emerged out of thin air. I have never accepted that as true. Please allow me to explain why. I will now tell you how the narrative unfolds. In point of fact, it is alleged that Mellon holds private keys and cold wallets that are dispersed across the United States, but the institution does not have enough redundancy measures in place that would enable third parties to recover the keys and wallets in the event that they are lost. As a result, those cold wallets are currently unavailable to anyone who wishes to access them. I would like to know if any of you who are currently listening to me have already made the effort to store your digital assets in a cold wallet. There is not a single one of you who is listening to my speech who has made the effort to establish a cold wallet while not writing down your phrases, your private key,